Hey everyone, this is Dunda92 and this is going to be the next series in the Orbiter live stream videos. Last mission I mentioned that the next mission would be some sort of gravity assist slingshot mission. After doing a bit of messing around with the trajectory optimization tool, I figured out that pretty much the only viable option for the kind of flyby I was looking for was a straight up Venus-Mercury flyby, using Venus with a gravity slingshot to get to Mercury. So long story short, I ran a bunch of trajectory stuff with the trajectory optimization tool, and I ended up with a pretty good idea of the launch window. The launch window's output was October 22nd, 2013, and the Venus swing by date would be January 26, 2014, with arrival date at Mercury being March 23rd, 2014. That being said, I then opened up the scenario editor and warped orbiter time to a couple seconds, or not a couple seconds, 2 days before the launch window. Ended up with, and this video I'm going to start off with planning the transit flyby in TransX, and maybe getting to this maybe getting to the part of flying by Venus. I don't intend to do a stop at Mir like last time. I intend to just go straight up, straight to Venus, then Mercury. As for what we do later, that will all depend. But it's just going to be straight up flyby because we're not going to be entering orbit around either planet. As far as our return home, we'll plan that out into scenario and TransX and see what options we have for returning home. But for now, this is going to be the only thing we know right now for sure is that we're going to be getting to Venus and Mercury. So that being said, I'm going to boot Orbiter. By the way, in case anyone is watching right now, the stream audio, well, I've messed with some of my audio settings in OBS with the sensitivity to eliminate background noise and better balance the audio. If it's too loud relative to the game or anything like that, just type it in the live stream chat or comment later.
Welcome aboard, Commander. All systems nominal.
But overall,
External
it's going to be a
cooling
lot louder
online.
than usual. So if you look in the date, I've warped our mission when we last landed to October 20th, 2013, 2 days before our launch window. Well, the first thing I'm actually going to do is disable the external cooling and close the fuel and LOX hatches. Well, actually, no, we don't need to do that. The first thing we're going to do is plan our transfer in TransX. Let's open up TransX. So, we're going to set up our target as escape, like we normally would with TransX. And then we'll go forward to the next stage on this one. The target for this one is going to be Venus, because we're going to be doing a gravity assist. So to intercept Venus, we're going to need we're going to need some negative delta V, with negative prograde velocity. And all that means is that instead of making our orbit around the sun bigger, we're going to make it smaller. For the exact date and time, we're gonna use the exact eject date that was given to us in Trajectory Optimizer, which is going to be an MJD of 56587.914. Exactly 91378 to be exact. Now we have that perfectly planned. We should not need any outward velocity. It should just be straight up prograde, but we'll have to
Copy that as well,
fine-tune and
thank you.
see. Unfortunately, it's because of the format that trajectory optimizer tool outputs it in, it's kind of hard to match it up perfectly, but we'll try our best. And we're going to adjust the eject date. We're not going to touch. I'm going to adjust the change point velocity. Which we're going to need quite a bit of.
Well, that also clears up a bit of confusion from our part, and the plan that you just outlined is excellent, and you'll go for that.
Thank you for understanding, and we are ready anytime.
Copy. Give us a few minutes. We'll call you back when we're set up, and KU's locked.
Next, I'm going to adjust some of the slingshot parameters here. Unfortunately, do not know exactly how to find this data from the burn time calculator. But again, we should be able to find it pretty conveniently. Actually, I didn't mean to say burn time calculator, I meant trajectory optimization tool.
Station, we copy? Give us a second, we'll look at it. Awesome. Well, that's all for us on a very busy day today.
And right now I'm just adjusting some of the variables so that we can get a accurate flyby. And it's the first time I've done any sort of gravity assist / flyby in orbiter, so
Copy that as well. Thank you.
Houston Station, Space Ground 2, we're ready for that pre-read on robotics.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind, on message 19 Charlie in the execute package, I'd like to refer you to note 2 Bravo, and let us know if you can confirm that payload 3 is routed to the WIB. We're still seeing the RCS camera on the ground. Copy. I have some words on Cedra. I'm not sure if we've mentioned it to you. We're currently operating in single bed.
So I will pause the stream here and bring the stream back in about 15 minutes.
We've been looking
You're-
at
you're
it,
back.
and
So, yeah.
Eclipse thinks
Figured
that the
how
culprit
to
is our good friend QD8 again.
tune the closest approach thing. It was not tuned very well the last time. And now I have to look at some tutorials, and so I'm pretty confident as to what I need to be doing.
So, Jeff, you think I should just go ahead and let you know?
Great copy. We'll get started on OBSS unberth 1.111.
Now it looks like we have a pretty good gravity assist lined up for us.
Discovery Houston, for Wendy, on your question, we do not need the serial numbers. We'll get them when you get back. We copy on air to ground 2, auto activation part 2 complete.
Great copy. We'll get started on OBSS unberth 1.111.
See here, we're doing a pretty good job getting our closest approach down. Lots of plane change, prograde, and right now I'm actually not sure what we just managed to do and why it's not glitching, but getting very weird. But I guess it might be because our close approach is too close.
We copy. Give us a minute. We're discussing.
Discovery Station on the big loop, you have a go for starboard MRL release. Okay, and if Thomas is still listening, could you let him know that after DPC, after the Moscow part, that he should be expecting a special call?
Hold to reset.
Go ahead. Hey, for the light,
Hold to
there's
reset.
no restriction on leaving it on, so you can
Hold
turn it
to
on at the
reset.
beginning of the day and leaving it on all the time.
Mission elapsed,
But when
time
you
reset.
turn it off, you have to leave it off for 10 minutes before you can turn it on again. Discovery Houston for playback.
Go ahead, Houston.
So we copy that and we'll keep that in mind. Again, great job on your part. We had no idea what to do next other than reconfiguring for a different leg for Ruba leak check. So again, really appreciate it.
near Venus on that sling pass. Inclining, notice it's there we go. And we're going to go up and around to here. Venus, in the meantime, did a comparably close there. The atmosphere a bit. It's orbit, so click forward. Getting in a little closer up here. Time. It's still off a bit, but you can see white line's not linked to orbit. And we can see it's a pretty close pass. Now we'll click forward, and there we are. It's back to Venus. Notice it keeps jumping forward.
Well, that also clears up a bit of confusion from our part, and the plan that you just outlined
As
is
we raise
excellent,
it, we
and
watch
we'll
to see
go for that.
how close we are inside. Now we may have lost, see how it's moving around? Let's go back and check. But first of all, let's lay the white line across here. Inclining, notice it's slipped back to 0. Bump it up. 5. There we go. So you can see we've got a close pass. We left Venus here, and we're going to go up and around to here. Venus, in the meantime, be at 1 point. I would forward this back. Hit it 1 past it. B. What I have a Earth-100 or pass it quite easily. Pass on it. Good. Driving there. It made it. And here we have a pass arriving near Jupiter. Reduce the amount we're adjusting. Good. Let's swing our white line around so that we'll go back if we get that a little closer. And it shows here that the pass at Earth was above the surface. Pick a new target. This time, there the amount. Easy. Skip that.
Discovery Houston, Eileen, we have you back on air to ground 2. Discovery Houston for Photo TV.
Using onboard O2. Using external O2. LOX hatch external cooling online. LOX resupply systems online.
Hey Jeff, those words are appreciated, but truly it's been a pleasure the last few days working with you all. It's going very smoothly. Pavel, can you confirm SSC number for your PMC? Jeff on Space to Ground 2. We've verified all connections and all connections are good, and we're still in a checkup process. Stand by a second. Discovery, Houston. We are configured on the ground. We're ready for downlink and playback.
Alright, so now that we are on the ground, we repositioned the spacecraft so that we're pointed roughly east. We're now waiting for the launch window so we can launch into an orbit of the correct inclination. It will also bring up surface MFD on the right-hand MFD. We're going to try and aim for a launch window where our ascent heading is straight east. 090. It's climbing pretty high up there. Once we hit 89.5 degrees, we're going to prepare for takeoff, because right now we're at a pretty optimal launch window where the ascent heading is pretty much straight east.
And Houston, we've turned off the topping of that heater duct and the two nozzle heaters.
Turn off the external
It looks good.
Using
Thank you,
onboard
Eileen.
O2.
We are ready for liftoff.
Warning, resupply operations terminated.
Not exactly why the fuel and LOX hatches were open in the first place, but it doesn't matter.
V1. Rotate.
I also just remembered that we can technically actually we could have set this up
Wheels up. Gear
ahead
up.
of time.
Warning, gear deployed.
It's the sync orbits
Gear up
MFD,
and locked.
but we'll have to make do with what we have for now. Down a bit, set up sync orbit and external MFD.
Warning, hull temperature. Mach 7.
Already pretty close call. All temperatures. Should be safe. Definitely we're a bit too aggressive in our...
Mach 8.
Or not proactive enough in pitching the nose back down.
We have a location. Standby, Steve.
Bring the pitch down really quickly. We're getting way too high.
Mach 9.
Temperature should not be this low.
Mach 10.
Awesome. We are complete with step 3.1 and 3.2. You can press on with 3.4.
Mach 11.
We'll have to bring it under relative inclination. Very rapidly.
Mach 12. Mach 13.
Station Houston for Jeff and DPC. We're back with you.
See here, we're pretty much holding our temperatures in the yellow while we continue our scram acceleration phase of the mission.
Mach 14.
The scram ascent takes a lot of multitasking coordination. This is just a case of trying to balance keeping the temps reasonable in the scram ascent with keeping our relative inclination down.
Mach
At this point, we need to
15.
orbit MFD. Ramming distances.
Mach 16. Mach 17.
In this scram profile, I wasn't aggressive enough in pitching the nose up initially,
Warning,
so I ended up
scram fuel low.
almost overheating, so I had to pitch up very steeply to not overheat. And that contributed very much to our poor scram ascent, but
Hey Jeff, we were talking to Mark
fine.
earlier on Aruba leak check, and we gave him a go to
Warning,
proceed with
scram
step 4,
fuel
but we're
depleted.
not sure if we got a return call or if it went through. So we
we're
just
going to do
wanted
a
to
rapid
confirm
pitch
he
up
got
to get out of the thicker parts of
that
the atmosphere under main
communication.
power. We're aiming for a 200 by 200 kilometer parking orbit.
Mach 19. Mach 20.
We also turn the aerodynamic control surfaces off as we do not need them right now.
Pitch off. Mach 21.
We're aiming for a 200 by 200 kilometer parking orbit, so that's where we will cut up our apoapsis at about 200 kilometers. Interesting
Mach
side note,
22.
but I can actually modulate it by using the pitch and the fact that we're still technically in the atmosphere, so I wouldn't necessarily need to aim exactly for 200, but
Mach 23.
It is one thing to note that you can sometimes set a good aquapsis and then it just changes a lot. That's because of the atmosphere. By adjusting your pitch, whether you have negative or positive
24.
AOA, you can adjust your aquapsis and not periapsis too much, but in this context, aquapsis using that.
Mach 25.
Alright, so now we have a stable 200 kilometer aquapsis. Dynamic pressure
Discovery
is
Houston,
1.5
if someone is
kPa.
available to check a
That's
config
under the radiator limits. So
for
we'll
photo
deploy the
TV,
radiator.
please.
Disable attitude hold. Then turn off the APU. Although APU fuel is not going to be
Mach
that
Those words are
26.
appreciated,
be
but
that
truly, it's
much of a needed
been a
commodity
pleasure the
as
last
will
few days
Rotation.
working
main fuel.
with you all. It's going very smoothly.
APU offline.
I'm going to tell it to hold prograde. I'm going to bring up burn time calculator to see how much delta V we have left. So 6,000 kilometers a second. Our burn, well, we have to first get into orbit before we can get an accurate assessment of how much we're going to need.
Copy. Do you have a copy of message 130506, the VTR bypass cable
We're
message
going to enter
available?
ourselves into orbit with this burn. Now we're in a 200 by 200 kilometer orbit. Now we can go to TransX and find the... First we're going to quick save and then find the eject date. So as you can see, there's the eject date is a bit far out. So we're going to time warp in orbit here. Until we hit that eject date.
Station Houston on space to ground 2, Fort John and Sergey from the shuttle side.
Alright, we're going to do a plane change maneuver to align our planes fully. So right now we built up about 0.86 degrees of relative inclination. Not terrible, but we would obviously want to eliminate this ideally. We're approaching our descending node, so we'll be going orbit normal plus. You can see the nice city lights below us. We're just going to warp until we get to the time of the node, which again, you guys can't see that MFD, but I have it as an external MFD. The align plane MFD, we're 10 seconds until the node. Alright, we're engaging thrust. Inclination is 0.
Translation.
You can do some fine tuning with TWCS. And there we have it. I've gotten rid of all the relative inclination. Switch off orbit normal plus, and now we can...
Space ground 2. We see
I believe
pressure.
this is going to be the orbit where... This is going to be the orbit where we're going to most close, where we're going to approach the...
That's the configuration we're in. We're hoping to go dual bed
intended
up
ejection
tomorrow
date to
or
closest.
sometime.
we're now going to enable a maneuver node. We're going to use a technique that I did not use in the last video because I was not aware that it existed. But we're going to basically plan our ejection burn from here. Not plan it, but we're not going to use the eject plan view
Have a good night.
to actually plan the burn.
Thank you, Julie, and it's great working with you today, and I guess we'll work tomorrow.
And tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after.
And I'm just trying to match up all the variables here again.
And Mark, it's confirmed we'll put 44 in work for you.
Actually, it does not appear to be matching that well. But I'm just going to match the prograde velocity. And then adjust
Thomas,
everything.
I'm ready on space to ground
again.
2 for the transfer brief.
Reset that. Reset that. Now we're going to go to this view and then reset it here. Now we have the planets on here. And it's just a lot more convenient to tune stuff like that right there. But now we can actually set up a proper maneuver node.
And Mark, it's confirmed we'll put 44 in work for you.
We need to move the plane change velocity. Just adjust the plane change velocity until we get a satisfactory approach. Now we're just going to go through the whole tuning process again. Which may seem like a lot of extra effort for nothing, but this is a technique recommended for TransX, so I'm going to see how it works compared to what I did last time I used TransX.
Station Houston on space to ground 2 for John and Sergey from the shuttle side.
Okay, I copy 1014 is in node 104 Golf.
That starts on page 30. I hope this helps.
With a lot of tuning like here, we can get our closest approach pretty low like it was before. Our outward velocity seems to be pretty much tuned exactly where it needs to be. So it's pretty much just going to be changing the plane change, adding some plane change velocity, and adjusting the periapsis at appropriate velocity.
Good copy. And Eileen, if you guys have a chance to queue up some centerline camera views as well, we'd certainly like to see that too. Go ahead. Eclipse confirms that the PBA serial number 1010 has to come home. The reason is because it has expired. It's certified live, so it needs to come home so you can move it as per the transfer plan.
while I'm sitting here doing this, I kind of forgot that why I'm doing this is for a gravity assist. So it actually is more than just fine-tuning the closest approach. I have to get the closest approach in such a way that it makes for a good gravity assist. So yeah. In reality, I should have been tuning it from this view all this time.
Copy that. We don't think so, but we'll let you know if we solved our OSTP update problem. Thanks for checking. We can confirm both rooms are ready for 7.2. Station Houston, space to ground 2 for John.
I'm going to experiment with just using the plane change and the prograde velocity to try and align our slingshot.
Absolutely. Lots of happy people here.
We're getting pretty close to aligning it.
Can you confirm that for me? I think that happened on flight day 3.
Alright, this should be accurate enough for our purposes.
Houston, space to ground 2 for John.
So we're going to go to the view variables. We're going to go to the, let's going to put it generally prograde using this autopilot because it's much more fuel efficient. Next we're going to tell it to, wrong view, auto center on, then go to the view mode. Now that we should have our burn all set up for our injection burn. Yes, if you're new to Orbiter or anything like that, this is probably one thing to always keep in mind, that anything interplanetary involving TransX is a lot of that. Fine-tuning variables to match numbers perfectly. There's a reason why NASA is NASA, and they're trained professionals at doing this. And why they don't have humans doing it by hand.
Rotation.
Starting our main engine burn, and this burn will be the end of this live stream. The next live stream will involve the coast phase to Venus and the fine-tuning of the flyby so we can encounter Mercury. And then we'll see what else we can get.
Go ahead.
Here, our burn is not purely prograde, and that is because we need that extra outward velocity and some plane change in order to accurately intercept Venus's orbit to enable a flyby that would take us to Mercury. And this time I'm not using burn time MFD because of the issue that I had with it. Of it not being accurate enough. And all of a sudden I realized I need to tell it to stop doing that. Auto center off, view, there we go. You can do some
Also tells me it has been done before, so it will.
Now we're going to use some RCS.
Translation.
Some RCS thrusting in order to fully align ourselves. Alright, so now we can adjust all these, set them, reset them. Maneuver, actually no, we can just go to var, maneuver node.
Unless you need us, we'll be here, standing by, but have a good night, restful night, EVA 3 tomorrow, good luck.
And as you can see,
And we'll pass you on
as
to
of
Huntsville,
right this
Jessica
instant, our
standing by.
slingshot is not
night.
very well aligned. And we can actually play with that a little bit with the linear RCS, as you can see here, so. But again, we will save that, most of that course correction, for the course correction maneuver later on. And that will be in the next stream. Thank you for watching.